Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to our English coverage of the 2019 Auto Chess Invitational, the first major we've seen in this relatively new game, relatively new genre, the Auto Battlers, but pretty thrilling game one as we have 4 groups to get through here, 32 players in total from 9 different regions. But guys, what a thriller in game one. Of course, I'm Axel Tosh, joined by Cameron Davis and Claytano. Just obviously a lot to unpack that we already did from that first game. But at the end of the day, it was really close. And you know, what are you guys' opinions on kind of the focus that these guys on the stage need to have coming into game two, especially Monty, based on how successful he was, and then Q, you know, a guy who we thought would be much more successful, finding himself in that 7th spot.
I was going to say, not only Q, but also Disowned. He is a very, very strong player, and for him to go out with 0 points in this it's tough. So those 2 players are going to be somebody to keep eyes on and how they're going to respond and bounce back, because if they have a bad game too, that's it. There's almost no chance that they can get back into it. If they fall below, I would say 6th or 7th, at this point, it's over for them. Like, there's no point. So they just need to make sure that they're playing a little bit aggressive, being a little bit more greedy, because they know at this point, if they don't get back into this, it could be over really quickly.
I mean, I think I haven't really run the numbers yet. I think there's a possibility that if they do poorly on the second game, but they win game 3, they could, because you just got to be top 4. First doesn't matter. It's just in that top 4 slot. If there's any player, though, that I expect to not crack under that pressure, it is going to be Disowned, because he is a experienced, like, qualified competitor, squash, as well as just another esport of Vainglory. So he's been on this stage before. On the flip side, looking at Monty, he just needs to play safe. He doesn't want to do any sort of risky maneuvers, because in the same way that even a win may not save, like, 2 8th place finishes, a win may not, like, if Monty goes out early twice, that could cut it a little close.
Exactly, and it does depend on the other players at that point to see where everybody hashes out, and then it comes down to a couple different tiebreakers as well if they do end up with the same points.
Well, this is a great moment to take a look at how this all breaks down as far as the points in the format are concerned. Once again, we have 4 groups of 8. The top 4 move on from each group. Here's how the points look. Here's how it works. Again, 1st through 8th. Disowned, he got 8th, he got 0 points. Pretty crazy. And of course, going up down the line, you get more points the better you do. And here's the breakdown. What a beautiful little graphic here. You can see 4 groups of 8 in the quarterfinals, which is today. And then tomorrow will be 2 groups of 8, as the top 4 will be advancing from each group. We keep holding on to that formula going into the finals on Sunday. And here is that full schedule. Full day today, tomorrow, and on Sunday. A 3-day event here as we get closer and closer to crowning our champion. Remember, first place, $450,000. This is not a team game. You don't have to share it. You don't got to split that with anyone. I know Claytano wanted some of that money because he played in the qualifiers, but now he's here commentating, and I believe we're just jumping in here into game number 2, and I also think we might have another look at an opinion from one of our players. It's Monty, who was very successful in game 1. Let's hear about what he thinks about his mentality going into the game.
First round, I usually go in pretty open-minded and see what I get, and then from there decide my game plan for the rest of the game. But usually pretty open-minded to go basically pick up any units at the beginning.
All right, here we are, game number 2. Monty, he took what he got, and able to take the win off of that. Can he do it again? I don't expect him to win. That's not a strike against his skill or his ability, of course. It's more just the fact that he just needs to get 3rd, 4th. It's like, play safe, don't go for any risks. Should be fine.
Yeah, as long as he's playing safe, though, it's going to give you a little bit of a disadvantage to somebody that's playing a little bit of aggressive and getting their rolls. So we do see Disowned here, somebody that does need to kind of bounce back. He has double Skybreakers in his shop, I believe. No, that was his last shop, which actually gave him the 2-star Skybreaker early on, being one of the best early units to start off with. And a Phantom Queen as well, which is also one of the better ones. Does some nice AoE magic damage right off the start. And then Tab Witch, of course, to kind of counter some of those Goblin mechs as well.
I mean, Monty, he win Hunters, which is, I guess, not one of the main favorite synergies, and looks like he's going Assassin, at least in the early game. So he just likes playing against the grain.
And we do see a lot more players picking up some knights just in case, because we didn't see them too contested last game. I think we talked about it a little bit where players were expecting everybody to go knights. So
they didn't bother.
Nobody went knights. Right. And I think we're definitely going to see people trying it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Especially just to kind of counter some of those other knight players. So, you know, the counter to knights is more knight players.
Yeah, I mean, so we don't see too many on the main board, but if you want to look at the players' benches, we're going to see, I think, more and more players have them slotted on the side. You have a Glacial Knight there, even though there's not a single knight on this player's board. More and more people are just, at least, there aren't that many knights in the early game. Mostly it's when you start to roll those tier 2s is when you start to see them more and more. But already, one Hell Knight, one Lightblade Knight. That's
Shredded, same thing. Yeah, Frost Knight as well. So it's just possibly having that chance or that option to go into knights if you see somebody or if you see the entire lobby not going them again.
And when you look at the early game, a lot of the talk is around win streaking and lose streaking, but along with managing your money, it's also about managing your opportunity and managing your future, and part of that is the sideboard, not just your wallet, not just your economy. Ozzy right here, though.
Yeah, speaking about lose streaking.
It's not open forwarding. He's hoping that the 2-star Lightblade Knight can take out at least one player to diminish the damage that he's taking. But yeah, he is committing to the lose streak right now because he's not confident in the ability to win streak, and the only thing worse than lose streaking is not streaking at all.
Yeah, we actually saw quite a few players last game not streaking at all. So they were getting to those situations where they were starting an early lose streak, and then there was a whole bunch of other players trying to do the exact same thing, which then led to a lot of players middling, which actually could have been the reason why Curie and Disowned kind of had something happen where they didn't get that streak completely all the way through. So definitely something to keep an eye out on in this game. But honestly, with Azu going with that Lightblade Knight, it's not really like a burst damage unit that's going to be able to kill a couple units anyway, so it almost would be better to just open fort if he is going to only use the Lightblade.
I mean, unless you're going up against a team that has summons, the difference between open forwarding and putting one unit there is very, very minimal. More than anything, it just delays the inevitable. But nonetheless, you already see more players actually leveling up early. This time around, I think we saw more than half the lobby with level 5 on round 6, which is certainly earlier than last time around. Is that like, do you think that's a decision based off of last round, or more just coincidence that we're seeing 4?
I think it's just more game dependent, right? So they're just trying to match the pace of the other players in the specific game itself. I know that we saw Hosanna with some pretty weak items in the first game, but I'll tell you, the items that he has now, he's just got a ton of them, and he's not looking too bad, actually.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot right there, and one of them's actually already completed, so I think he actually has twice the items as anyone else does, or close enough. The item, I guess, what are the components? That's the word.
Yeah, and Disowned is somebody that needs to have something happen for him.
He only has one club. That's
one wooden club. Yeah, it's definitely rough, and it does mess with your mind a little bit. But again, we said that he's a veteran player. He knows the competition, and to keep his cool and his wherewithal to know that he still has a chance. But swapping over here to Azu, still going with that Lightblade Knight, not really putting anything else in. And I would see him potentially looking to run what's called a Knight Gamble at this point, where you lose streak all the way down, stay at level 5, get over 50 interest, and just roll for your 3-star 2-cost units as quick as you possibly can.
Yeah, so one of the big strengths of Knights is, of course, not just I guess how simple they are to play, but it's the fact that your main carries are tier 2s. That means there's a large number of them in the pool, and it's really easy to sort of get them rolling in the early game. And sure, you don't have to necessarily gamble in the way that you just described in order to get the level 3 Hell Knight, level 3 Lightblade Knight, but that is an option in order to find them.
It is a little scary, though, for Monty's end, because he does have that Priest out on the board, so if he does get put up against Azu, he instantly loses his lose streak because Azu is open forting, which we kind of talked about in the first game. We were interested to see if anybody was going to open fort, but Monty, it's got to be a little scary on his end to kind of commit to that. And so he does put a couple extra units on the board, also probably going for that same strategy as I talked about earlier. So we have Monty and Azu, 1-2 from last game, playing a completely different strategy this time, going into a lose streak early.
Yeah, and just looking at how one player makes a single decision, that affects how another player has to play their game. Azu wasn't open forting until he saw Monty basically open fort with the shaman.
Yeah, the fortune teller, yeah.
And then now that, but Monty saw that and said, well, okay, now that's kind of pointless. I have to play units now in order to try and have some chance of finding some more gold, in which now he has the 2 Hell Knights and the 2 Glacials.
But he has to be careful because he still doesn't want to beat the other players, but them all pretty much at level 6 with the exception of Disowned. He should be in a decent situation to still lose, to maintain that lose streak, as long as he doesn't get put up against Azu.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that's going to kind of shoot him in the foot.
Yeah, and that's kind of a scary situation to be in. You want to be able to, so you don't necessarily face off against the same player again in a row. And so with enough information, there becomes a time that you know there's a higher chance to go up against Azu, and then that's when you may stop open forwarding, stop that lose streak, but you don't know exactly who you're going to be going up against next. So it's, again, it's another element of gambling. It's another element of just managing the RNG and managing chances and percentages.
Yeah, and Q actually here
Sana's
going
items
into a
ridiculous.
Yeah,
Sorry, go on.
No,
Just
I mean, even Azu. Look at the items for Azu on a 3-star light blade knight. Imagine having 3 frantic mass if you can actually get another stick there. But we are seeing some hunters here from Q now, and actually selling the front line there to go with some spirits. And possibly switching into Spirit Mages. He does have the pair of Wind Rangers, which does some really nice magic damage as well.
Yeah.
Kind of an old school build though, a little bit. We haven't seen it too much in the current meta. We see a lot of people just going into those Dragon Mages or kind of transitioning into something a little bit more, but I'm sure he will end up transitioning at the end of the day.
He's got to transition into something. Kiri's build right now is one of, I guess, necessity, and it's not one of choice, because this is just, it looks more like just a mishmash of something to try and stay alive, something to try and at least not win streak, because that's definitely not a win streakable board, but at least mitigate as much damage. You did see him remove a couple of units off of his opponent, who I believe was Shake at the time, and so, but still, waiting for the opportunity, you got to find your opening to really 100% commit to a certain build. Hasn't been revealed itself to Kiri just yet. It's revealed itself to Shake though. It looks right now that there is no reason why he should go anything but Glacial Knights.
Yeah, but we also have Monty and Azu that actually lost their lose streak, but are both going Glacier Knights as well. So we do see potentially 3 Glacier Knights builds here already at round 12.
You played well.
They're sloppy though, Monty and Azu's Glacial Knights though. We're only seeing, okay, so we have a second knight on Monty's side, which is going to be the Skeleton Knight, but then Azu, he only has the Light Blade. So it's more glacial than anything else. The knights haven't really revealed themselves, and as we mentioned, the fact that the majority of the important knights are tier 2 and tier 3, they should show up eventually, but there's going to be a point that recognize other people going knights, other people are going to be contesting you, and so you might want to change something else. It's not too late to transition, but it's coming up on when it gets too late.
But I also don't think Shake is really in the greatest position for Glacier Knights either. He's got a bunch of one-stars, essentially.
Yeah, that's
doesn't
true.
have a single pair, where Azu does have at least the pair of Lightblade Knights, and does have the, not a pair, but a 2-star Lightblade Knight, and also has some really nice items that pair with those knights extremely well.
Yeah, so, I mean, all 4 Knights players that we're looking at right now, they're kind of forcing it a little too much, and that, do we worry that that's going to bite them later on in the game? When you compare to other players, like Hosanna right now, who is win streaking himself, still at 100 HP, going a heavy warrior build with a couple of other, I think, beasts like thrown in there. Like, do you think that this could be a good opportunity for Hosanna to take the lead because the strong compositions are really not up and rolling just yet?
Yeah, and we do have 2 players playing Beast Warrior right now, which is actually a counter to all 3 of those Knights players. So with them lose streaking and losing so much HP, and then also trying now to climb their way back into the top 2 players in the lobby right now being their counter, it's going to be difficult for them. And Azu does go up to level 6. Monty's staying at level 5 for now. One of the things that I was going to say is that if you do see a bunch of other Knight players, instead of staying at level 5 and rolling and trying to get your 3 stars, just kind of kind of give up on the 3 stars for now.
Okay.
Spend that gold into levels so that way you can put in the Soul Reaper, you can put in all the extra bonuses that you need, and that alone is going to give you enough advantage to kind of keep that HP strong.
Yeah, because at some point, even though the percentage chance of rolling for the tier 2 units does get lower, you're going to still find them eventually. That's like the expectation. And so yeah, that's the reason why the gamble, the Knights gamble, as you mentioned, is not necessarily the greatest choice for the Knights. It's not the one that everyone defaults to in the very beginning. It's an option, but it does come with its risks. And so as you said, go into those levels, get the other Knights as well, have a nice little defensive line, and then eventually your Hell Knight, eventually your Knight, Lightblade Knight will come up and come online, hopefully in time to save you. But the damage that they're taking, it's not an insurmountable amount just yet. Seeing Disowned and Monty both around 50, that's not the worst at this time in the game. I mean, we saw Azu almost come back from 20 in the late game. But it's getting to that point, though, that they need to find something solid, need to find something manageable.
Yeah, we do see Shredded actually looking to transition into Dragon Mages, which is what we saw him play last game. He did kind of the same thing. Warriors to start, got himself a decent lead, and then starts buying those mages and kind of floods them in just little by little in order to complete that, to give himself a stronger comp in the end game, where Disowned is also doing the same thing, looking at mages, but he does have a Pirate Captain along with a Flaming Wizard as well at the same time, and a 2-star Thunder Spirit as well. So Disowned, not bad with only 2 players going mages at this current moment, where Shredded is looking to transition.
He's looking to transition. He doesn't have too many units just yet, as you can see. He only has a couple on his sideboard in order to make that transition, and he's still going the Warrior Beast.
I would say at this point, he's got a 2-star Werewolf. He's got the 2-star of Abyssal Guard and Swordman, as well as the Tusk. Just commit. Yeah. Just commit.
He went out 4th. That's not, obviously it's not winning the round, but it's not the worst position. If he can get another 3rd place or a 4th place off of this Beast Warrior, that should put him in a really strong spot to make his way out of this group in the top and, just one of the 4 positions here. So you don't need to go for the win. And with a strong Beast Warrior comp that he has right now, this could just be basically the best move for him.
Yeah, and he does end up selling the mages like we see just there. I would kind of suspect that he's going to sell maybe the Tusk after this win in order to get up over 50 gold. 3-star Tusk is nice and all, but I would say we can get it later on.
And is he going to sell? He's going to keep it. I think he just really likes his Tusk champion.
Sit on it, or even sell the Siren right now. It's going to be several rounds before you can actually fit that into your comp. So he actually is just going to sit on it, eat 1 gold there. A little bit of an interesting decision, in my opinion. But right now he's at.
I mean, it's just 1 gold. It's just 1 gold. He's back up above 50 at this point. It's not like he is making the decision to roll down from 40 to 30 with the just 1 gold excuse. We'll see if that.
You're being a little easy on him, but
I think you're being a little too hard on him. Okay. But we'll see what happens. If he wins this game, I win. If he doesn't, then you do. So
it's fair enough. Fair enough. Hosanna, though, actually taking that 100% win streaking role that we saw Monty with last game, and he's running a Beast Warrior comp right now. 4 Warriors, 3 Beasts, so a little bit of in a weird situation, but he does have the Marine bonus, which going up against the Mages is extremely strong. A lot stronger than people actually give it credit for right now, but up against Shredded's Beast Warriors, kind of trying to hang on to that win streak if he can. It's going to be close.
Yeah, I mean, Shredded looked to have the advantage in the very beginning, but then suddenly the damage stopped coming in. Poisonous Worm is trying to counter back. The shots are coming in. He's
gonna be okay.
Just
Poisonous Worm
at the end.
clutching it.
Shows you the strength of summons just in general, because not only is it more damage coming out from those auto attacks, it's also another unit to tank the damage, and especially when it gets down to that situation where it's a 2v2, 1v1 unit. Then,
and it's slowing the attack damage of all of those warriors as well, which is extremely crucial at the same time. Wow, that was close. So now he's looking at a 3-star Red Axe Chief. No, just has a Red Axe Chief on the board, actually, on the bench.
Probably looking for it eventually. We did see a Red Axe Chief featured 3-star in the late game of last game. Wasn't exactly the game maker for Monty. But speaking of which, Monty going up against Hosanna right now. Monty, of course, still with the glacial units. A couple of knights in there as well. it's been a while since we've checked up exactly on the state of his Knights, and I think he has a lot more this time around. And actually, it's kind of tearing through the defenses of Hosanna. Hosanna may just be about to lose if the Poisonous Worm doesn't come up clutch. I don't think it's going to be enough, though.
I don't think it's going to be enough. It was
Siren,
actually
though.
Surprising, because this should beat a Glacier Knight comp, but it would be nice to see kind of how good he got between the last time we actually took a look at him. So he's got pretty much everything now for Glacier, 3 Knight until he gets up to the next level. But he also has the very clutch Aegis and Warlock bonus, so up against Beasts. Early game for the most part, kind of mid game right now. It is actually making quite a bit of a difference to have that Soul Reaper in there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a direct counter to what the Warrior buff has, so that could have been basically the factor of him taking that matchup against Hosanna. The Knights aren't the strongest for Monty right now. He still only has 2 Lightblade Knights, but he's got the 2-star Hell Knight, and on round 19, that's enough in certain situations. But speaking of 3-star, we're already seeing a 3-star Agursis Ranger.
Yeah, from Q, which we saw a lot of Hunters, and obviously shredded one last game with Hunters, so maybe trying to take a little bit of a shot at it here.
Yeah, he's going to take that round, took the round on his own board as well. So he's able to climb up. Q is one of the players who we looked in the very beginning of taking a lot of losses, taking a bit of health, but looks like he's stabilized a little bit. Now currently sitting in 5th place on the current leaderboard. Or not leaderboard, but the current match right now.
And it looks like Shake with a 3-star Desperate Doctor already, and picking up a Dragon Knight, which doesn't typically fit into Nice Glacier, but look at his economy right now. He rolled down pretty deep into round 20, only 23 economy, which is essentially 3 less than everybody else's at the moment. So
yeah,
he went pretty far in for that.
I don't know. He's going Glacial Knights, but does not have a single 1-star Lightblade Knight. That may be why he's picking up the Dragon Knight, because similar to what we saw Monty have to make a decision around the Sniper, at this point, the Lightblade Knight, you can't rely on it coming. There are more players contesting Knights this time around. And so you need to have a little bit of flexibility in your builds. And the Dragon Knight, I mean, do we think that's going to be a good replacement for the carry of the Lightblade Knight?
I don't think it's going to be enough, but he might be looking to switch into Dragon's Knights instead of
Nope, he sold it.
Yeah, okay, there it goes. As we're talking about it, of course. But I think Shake is in a little bit of a difficult situation here. I think he rolled down looking to pick up some of those Knights before the other Knight players were able to get them, and was unsuccessful at it. So that is definitely going to hurt him later on as the game goes on, because he's losing crucial gold right now. But a lot of players actually rolling down at round 21 to try to look for those upgrades. We have pretty much everybody. Azu going all the way in. DK super low as well.
Azu with the 3-star Lightblade Knight on round 21 with the double mask and the Maelstrom. That's a strong unit. But just going back to Shake real quick, where we finish up that, I guess, that thread. He's not going to win this game at this point.
No.
I think it's easy to say that he has no Lightblade Knights. He's committed 100% to Glacial Knights, but does not have one of the key carries to make that work. However, his board is still strong enough. Knights are still reliable enough for him to be able to easily swing this into like a 3rd place. And in a best of 3, trying to hit top 4, that's not a worse decision. On games like this, on any sort of King of the Hill style game, it's all about working with what you're given and try and get as many points as possible, even if that means not getting the win.
Again, like Azu and Monty right now in 6th and 7th position, but I think Azu's in a pretty good spot to start building his economy back up. Does have 32% HP to work with, and all he's looking for is a top 4 finish in this game to give himself a really good spot to move on to tomorrow.
We're looking at Disowned right now, who was the player that went out in 8th place last time around, and a big reason is that he was trying to go Dragon Mage, but he didn't have a single Tortella Elder. This time around, he's able to get at least 1, and so hopefully this means I'll be able to stop the bleeding more successfully this time around.
Up against Azu, though, it's going to be tough. He does have the Dark Spirit, though, to counter those 3 Knight players, and unable to get the Tortola fully off. He is sitting on an egg, so getting that 2-star would be pretty... Yeah, like you said, pretty clutch for him.
Pretty crucial. I do think he's in a better position to save himself this time around, but 11 gold
is not much
22 HP. Once again, the metrics for this player are getting just very, very tight, and okay.
Okay, so
the egg in the
I don't
second.
think he really has room to mess around. He's got to just use the egg.
He rolled one. Why is he rolling more? He rolled one Sound of 4, which is fine gold, because you can buy the third if you get it in the pack for 4, but rolling lower than that I think is just a desperate sort of bad habit that I see a lot of players do. Once he went down to 0, he then used the egg. So now with the 2-star, hopefully that's enough. I want to see the items that we have on Tortola Elder though, because mana items are crucial on this player, and he's got none of that.
Well,
so
we saw that he was kind of low rolling items early in this game, which is kind of unfortunate, but he's in the kind of the hot seat right now to be completely out.
This is close. For a second there, it looked like the boat. And
no. Shredded's actually got a 3-star Abyssal Guard too now.
That's big, yeah. He doesn't take, this one doesn't take a lot of damage from that, only down to 20 HP, and actually gets undertaken, if that's a word, by DK, who's now down in last place. But Shredded right now, able to, I guess, win his own round. We're starting to get to the point that we're going to see more and more players get removed, get deleted, and we actually see the top rolling player drop a lot more than what we saw at this state in the game from the last round. Hosanna down to 63. At this point in the game, I think Monty was still at 94, so not high rolling as much as that player was.
Yeah, Shredded's still level 7, which is about 3 rounds too late to level up to 8, but at 52%, I don't know, I would really expect him to get up to level 8 here, but he's just waiting to round 25, I would assume, and he had the Abyssal Guard in the back line too with that positioning, so a little bit all over the place for me, in my opinion, on like positioning and things, but still making it work at 52% HP.
Axes being thrown in aren't going to work. He is going to lose again to the 3-star Lightblade Knight. Just quite a bit of a hassle to have to deal with for Shredded. He's still in second place right now. The damage from this round might drop him down to third, but nonetheless still in a strong enough position. Once he gets to level 8, I'm assuming he's waiting to find either the third Pirate Captain or the third Doom Arbiter, and then use the egg on the other one that he doesn't find to get those 2 tier 4 units up to 3-star, slotted in on the 8th.
Yeah, Disowned and DK continuing to bleed HP, now just at 15 and 13% HP. Monty at 31% here, gets the 3-star Hell Knight with some really nice items on it. Also, 3 Lightblade Knights away from a 3-star of his own, so if he actually gets 3-star Hell Knight and 3-star Lightblade Knight, he's kind of got that dynamic duo, and he's level 8 with all the other pieces to the puzzle as well. So not a bad position for Monty to be in, compared to the other Knight players, or even with the exception of the other Knight players still being in the game.
Looking at another Hunter player this time around. Not a lot of them this round. Of course, we saw way too many of them on the first round of the whole day. But DK right now, I believe it's actually pronounced Ducka. We have to get some confirmation on that one because it's a little weird. But nonetheless, able to trying to save himself in 7th place right now. Of course, wins the neutral round. I mean, if he lost the neutral round at this point, I think that would be a bigger problem. But a lot of units on his sideboard, trying to find some sort of upgrade. It's a lot of just pairs and...
Got the 2-star Pirate Captain. That's a huge pickup actually for Hunters. It gives you more CC and a nice front line as well with a little bit of human thrown in there, and gets a 2-star Doom, so that way he's able to get rid of that Red Axe Chief, even though he was just 1 away from a 3-star Red Axe, which is what we saw Monty using to get first place.
But a 3-star Red Axe is, I would say, is still not as strong as even a 2-star Doom Arbiter or 2-star Pirate Captain. So definitely a good substitute, a good swap there. The damage coming out from Disowned, that's huge. You can see just how impactful the Tortola Elder is. The Dragon Knight as well following up with the 4 sticks.
Yeah, 4 sticks for sure. And kind of going back to the Red Axe Chief though, real quick.
Sure.
I do think that getting a 3-star Red Axe Chief would have been able to replace the Werewolf right now in his team, which might have been just maybe a little bit too of a quick sell in my opinion, but now going down to 4% HP.
Yeah, he might have wanted to try and sell the Red Axe Chief just to try and start to build that economy up. Right now you can see he's actually setting himself up at above 10. Okay, he's able to find another upgrade for his own. I believe that was the level 2 Siren. So hopefully that will lead himself, but 4 HP, he has no room for error at this point if he wants to give even above 8th place, much less in the top half of this scoreboard.
Disowned and Q now, actually, they're looking for people to start dropping out before them, because if they take another 7th or 8th, It's gonna be
rough.
It's gonna be rough.
It's gonna be rough.
And especially being the players to look out for. Like everybody's eyes are on them going into this tournament, and they're in a bit of a situation still.
Q, the damage just doesn't really seem to be there. We saw the huge stun coming out from the ghost ship from the pirate captain, but there was really no damage there to follow it up. The sniper didn't do a lot. It was still only level 2 on Q's side, and we know just how impactful we saw last round from Monty's side, how important DK does go out in 8th, but how important the level 3 sniper is if you want to keep that hunter composition, hunter synergy rolling into a win into the late game.
DK still has a chance to get back into it going into game 3.
Yeah.
I believe he finished 5th.
4th or 5th, yeah. So there's a little bit of room for him to play around with, I think.
6th. Yeah, okay, it is confirmed that he is.
6th.
He actually finished 6th. So 6th and 8th finish, it's going to be rough for him. He does need to probably pull out a win in order to keep himself in this tournament.
Maybe
but
a 2nd, but...
if Q and Disown still go out, then it kind of confirms that everybody else is right in the same boat with them.
Yeah.
And it spreads out or doesn't spread out the lobby as much anymore.
That's true. That obviously it's bad for Q and Disowned if they leave, if they go out early again, because that basically means that they have almost no chance. But that makes it easy for everyone else to be confirmed inside. Monty right now, though, he's taking a lot of damage from the hunters on the side of Q. 3-star versus Ranger.
Yeah.
Oh! Get one. There we go. Oh,
okay.
Look at that. Look how close. How much HP? 40 HP left on the sniper. Only 2 damage thrown to Monty's health pool, though, and he's down to 4, though. Q down to 2 HP. And Disown, he's climbed up to 4th, but only with 1 extra health above Monty.
And I'm surprised Azu is even still losing. He lost by 10 to Hosanna, which is it's insane.
That's
I mean, especially with that stacked Lightblade Knight, it's actually crazy. But we have talked about it in the past too, just going with that Berserker. It's kind of a almost, I don't want to say wasted unit, but it is not as good as having a Defector in here, especially with the Shaman being thrown in there to have that extra Penguin.
Yeah, the Storm Shaman is a really big pickup no matter what comp you put it in, but especially with the Shaman synergy, that's even an added bonus. But look at the Ghost Ship coming out from Q, but again, the damage follow-up is not there. Look at the 3 stars on this side of Hosanna. That is exactly why Azu took so much damage, and that is why Q doesn't go out in 6, like
Monty
or 7. He goes out in 6. Monty out in 6, and the Disown also immediately deleted. But look, the points that Disowned was able to climb because he went out literally 3 seconds after everyone else. That could be huge for him.
Yeah, so Disowned and Q are actually now tied for points going into game 3. Monty with a 7th place finish now, only picking up 1 point this game.
He won game 1. He's fine.
It's rough though. I mean, if he doesn't perform well in game 3, he does have a chance of not moving on.
I would much rather be in his position than I would be in Disowned and Q. Is I guess
absolutely.
It's the greater point.
Of course. Azu, though, still looking really good. Does have that 3-star Lightblade Knight still, and with the other Knight player going out, has more opportunity to get a 3-star Hell Knight.
3 frantic masks on the side of that Lightblade Knight. That could be huge, just the damage and the life steal coming onto that single carry. But Hosanna, we saw him just delete anyone that he goes up against, including Azu, which he faced just moments prior. That should give Azu a little bit of breathing room. It should be at least a couple of rounds before he goes up against Hosanna again, and that could be enough for him to like just watch Shredded get deleted by Hosanna, watch Shake get close to deleted by Hosanna.
Yeah, he does have a magical crystal on his Wormy Boy, or his Poisonous Worm, and he's 1 magical crystal away from a refresher orb on his
Does he want to sell it?
Siren. I don't think he needs to. I think he's in a position where he's going to be just fine as it stands and try to look for another magical crystal as more players get eliminated as you move on to more rounds.
It will be shocking if Hosanna is the next person eliminated. So I think there actually is a good chance that he'll be able to get the refresher orb on his Siren before. But looking back onto Azu, taking a lot of damage, but just the Lightblade Knight, more than enough. Look
actually
at the HP
able
left.
To beat Hosanna this time, which is the strongest player in the lobby currently. So Azu looking pretty good. Shredded now dropping to 14%. I would say Shredded is kind of in a difficult situation because 1-for-1 going up against Hosanna. Hosanna's kind of like just his bigger brother, right? He's got more of the units that he's looking for. Although Shredded does have 2 2-star Dooms, which is something to keep in mind, but a lot of items in his bag right now. a lot of strong items in his bag right now, especially the Heaven's Gift.
Why is he waiting?
Especially at 14% HP, gotta start throwing those on.
I think he's waiting for Azu to get eliminated, or hoping that Azu gets eliminated so he can turn those items into something bigger and then make the choice on where he wants to put them, but that might be a gamble that could hurt him in the end. He's going up against Shake right now, and he looks to be winning. The Ghost Ship is going to be a big stun right now. The damage, though, starting to turn back into Shake's favor. He could clutch this out, but just barely shredded. A little more than just barely, but a little closer than it may have looked in the beginning. Shred is going to stay alive.
Yeah, I think that Berserker was actually doing quite a bit of damage. I'm not sure what items Shredded has on his Berserker.
Inner peace.
Okay, decent.
A fair amount. Fair amount.
Enough. He actually is able to get that 4th beast bonus in now with the addition of Lord of Sand, but not necessarily the greatest unit. Of course, you want to have that Razor Claw, which we see Hosanna with, would be your best bet. But right now, having that extra beast bonus with 2 2-star dupes isn't a bad. Oh, he does have a Razor Claw, actually. I apologize. He would just need Wormy Boy, I guess. Would be the only other option.
I don't know. I think, but I guess you could argue that Warriors don't have a lot of access to range damage or backline damage, so maybe having even one assassin could be something. I don't know. Point is, he's getting destroyed by Hosanna again right now. Shredded might actually. Okay, Shake's actually going to go out in 3rd place. This is going to be a number of items given to Shredded if he's able to stay alive, but that's a lot of units going to be dealing health damage. I think Shredded's going to be out next, and that's going to be Azu, guaranteeing himself a 2nd time in a row at least 2nd place.
Yeah, he's in probably the best situation out of all the other players right now to move on. Even at 2nd place right now, if he were to go out, he should be just fine moving on. Shredded also 4th place finish and now a 3rd place finish. He's probably going to be our 2nd place going into round
2nd seed.
3, 2nd seed, going into round 3. So he's actually looking good. And Hosanna, I would say he probably needs a 1st place win here. So he's not going to take this lightly. He's going to finish it all the way till the end.
But again, we saw Azu come in with a health deficit, with a gold deficit, but turn the game almost back into his favor using Glacial Knights, and he's doing the same thing this time around. Can Hosanna's Beast Warriors hold strong? It's hard, but it looks like he's coming out on top this time around. A lot of very low units, though, in the bounces from the Lightblade Knight. Yep, that shows the strength of Lightblade Knight. The bounces start to chip down everyone from the very beginning, and Azu actually loses even worse on his own board, and he might... I think he took the health damage. He's down to 4 HP. He has 0 room for error at this point, and he does not have the same advantage against Hosanna as he did against Monty on round 1.
That is a great pickup right there with a 2-star Siren, being able to turn people to stone for at least a few seconds there and let his Lightblade Knight kind of go to work with all those massive items. Dragon Bone, Ballista with 3 Frantic Mass and close to a Mjolnir as well. It's just going to be really, really smart to add in that Siren. So he's honestly, I still want to give this to Azu. I think he's fighting to try to get into 1st place again, which we saw him doing in game 1. But Hosanna also still looking extremely strong and picking up 3 Berserkers on his bench. Abyssal Guard with the Heart of Trask as well.
Yeah, Abyssal Guard is not generally considered by a lot of people to be one of the best carries in the game, but with a 3-star on him, and even with the health advantage and the armor from it, he is not exactly a 3-star Doom Arbiter, but he's still a good option there. Good attack speed on him, good damage coming out, and then when you back it up with the Berserker right behind him, Hosanna's armor, you can see, is still just very, very strong. Took Azu down to 4 HP just last round.
Also getting up to level 10 as well, just to add more... more units on the board is always going to be really good against Knights because they are generally single target damage, and he's just kind of rolling through Azu right now.
You're saying rolling? The Lightblade Knight could be a lot, but
trying.
Okay, well, maybe not enough. Azu taking heavy damage from this round. He's going to get removed, so that's going to be another 2nd place in a row for Azu. Hosanna coming out on top, round 2 from South Korea. A good round for him, and once again, winning with an unexpected build.
Yeah, it's a Beast Sport. We kind of talked about that being a bit of a sleeper build coming into this, but we were suspecting Knights and Dragon Mages to be, you know, the guaranteed first place if you start getting all your rolls, but we haven't seen a single first place from either of those builds yet.
Yeah, I don't know, and I don't know if that is due in part to just like unlucky rolls by the players doing that, or the fact that they are that contested still.
I think players are trying to transition to them at the exact same time. So as they're trying to roll for them, they're all trying to get them around like round 15 to round 20. But we do see Azu again with a Knights Glacier build, same build that he went round 1. And if it's not broken, don't change it.
Yeah.
I mean, Azu's having a pretty good tournament right now. We talked about Monty, who I want to talk about him actually. Obviously, winning in the first round, but then 7th place here. So what was the deal for Monty here in the second game?
I think he maybe tried to play a little bit too safe going into this one. He ended up, he basically open forwarded. And the problem with that is when there's another open forwarder, he lost his lose streak very early. I think he lost his lose streak before he even got to 50 gold. So it took him several rounds to even get up over that 50 gold mark. And if you're lose streak, you want that by like round 11 almost to have 50 gold. And I think that basically just sealed the nail in the coffin, that alone, especially going up against players that know how to play on win streaks. They know how to play on lose streaks. So if you're not streaking at all, he was losing too much HP and then lost his streak as well. So that kind of, it was rough for him to come back from regardless.
Yeah.
Every single aspect of this game is all about working with what you're given, and that goes all the way down to even the concept of playing safe. When a player decides to play safe, you can't just play the exact same way, because open forwarding, a lot of people consider that a very safe way of playing the early game. That bit Monty this time around because he wasn't given, the game didn't give him the tools that he needed in order to open forward successfully. Part of that's also because he had someone else contesting the open forward with him. You can see the match results on the end here with all the different team compositions alive, and we see more Glacial Knights, but none of them were really at the level of like a fully completed just yet, just because of how contested they were.
And it's funny because obviously they weren't as contested in game 1, so we're clearly seeing some evolution here from game to game, different decisions being made, and that's a very important thing to stay in tune with. And obviously in auto battlers, well, maybe not so obvious if you're new to the genre, there's no hidden information, right? You can pretty much see all the items everyone has, you can see the compositions everyone has, so that's something to think about, especially as we move into game 3. And here we see the points distribution throughout the board, and here we see the overall point standings. Look at all the math is done for us, which is just delightful.
Very nice.
We see Azu at the top at 14, Hosanna not doing so well in the first game, but winning the second game. That's putting him at number 2. Then Shredded, Shake, Monty. Not going to be too happy about being in 5th right now after getting in first, but someone I want to focus on too is Q. I mean, once again, a guy who we considered a favorite coming to this round, he is finding himself fighting for his tournament life in the next game.
Yeah.
He has not had the results he's looking for.
There's a lot of things that need to happen for him to actually have a chance to move on, where he needs to have Monty and I believe there's one others that are like 10 and 11 points to just go out 7th and 8th.
Yeah.
And Disowned, Q, and DK all are like 3 points and 2 points right now. So just even break the threshold of 5th place, which is Monty at 10 points, is going to be extremely difficult.
The thing is, all those players at the bottom are going to want the players at the bottom with them to do well, because if more players at the top of the leaderboard continue to do well, that's just going to be like a sponge of points that aren't going to be shared around, and that's going to make it difficult to be confident on, like, to know exactly where they're going to place. One of the worst parts about these sort of free-for-all games is the fact that even if you play your best on the final round, there is going to be an aspect of it where it all leads up to how well another player does. Like what you said, Monty, if he does poorly again and drops even below 5th place, that's an opening for someone like Hugh or even Disown to climb back in. But if he performs well, no matter how good of a game either of those two players have, it might not be enough.
All right, we'll talk about it more after the break, guys. We have one more game here in this round, so we're going to